One final remark I'll make about the Rise and Fall of Weezer series. If I told you the sheer amount of time, money, and work that went into creating that series over the last 2 years, I swear to God you would have me committed. Like, full-on mental ward. Full One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Nurse Ratched?
Call me Brandy.
Chief, get down with Nurse. Make 'em bacon.
That's the wrong clip. Well, anyway, it's good to finally have that out of the way so we can discuss a broader, more relevant scope of topics on this show and just overall get back to basics. And you know, there's no better way to get back to basics than to do what pretty much every internet reviewer is known for doing. Beating a dead horse! Holy fuck, did new metal suck ass!
The whiny, pretentious lyrics, the complete and utter lack of musical talent. This motherfucker right here, this genre nearly killed rock and roll, and from roughly 1997 to 2007, in nearly 10 years' time, the genre produced little to nothing of any intrinsic value.
It was wretched. It was abominable. And tonight, we are digging deep into the heart of that mommy issue crawling in my skin bullshit. Because tonight, we are going from A to Z. We are going from edema to wicked wisdom. There aren't actually a lot of new metal bands with X, Y, or Z in the name. But tonight, we count down the absolute worst of the worst, the shittiest of the shit, as we count down the top 10 worst Oh my God! Oh, did Connor McLeod just behead a motherfucker in my apartment foyer? Seriously, what the hell is going on? Wait, who are... No. No. It can't possibly.
Yep, I'm you from the past.
Holy shit.
And dude, you've been way too hard on new metal.
How?
Well, I've been researching some of the things you've said about the genre, and sure, new metal has its faults, but to say it has no intrinsic value at all is really not fair to...
No, how are you here?
What?
How did you time travel from the past?
Oh.
Fuck you, Gio!
I have my ways.
Look, to discount an entire genre of music as being worthless just isn't fair. I mean, yes, there were a lot of failings out there. A lot of failings. But to discredit everything is to discredit the genuinely great acts that just happen to be associated with new metal, and that's not cool. It's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Dude, it was new metal. The baby bathwater analogy doesn't count if it was a demon baby.
I wish you could plant a candy garden.
Regardless, this was a genre you really used to love, dude.
How are you even...
Look, I'm here to set you straight. It wasn't all bad, and some of the things you've been saying on your show just aren't 100% true.
Again, how do you know anything about my past episodes if you're from the past?
Look, if you keep pointing out the plot holes, we're never gonna get anywhere.
Touché. Well, as long as you're here, I suppose you may as well help me out with the review. I guess you can offer a interesting counterpoint. Come pop a seat on the couch.
Nice place you got here.
This is so surreal. I can't believe I used to do that to my head.
I can't believe I grew up to be a guy who wears a fedora.
It's a trilby, tampon head!
You're tampon head.
We are literally the same person.
Oh wow, that complicates things.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, let me lay down a few ground rules.
For one, I just want to make it known that this list is purely subjective and entirely personal. It's not an end-all, be-all, and it's totally open for debate. This is just a list of our personal favorite.
Your personal favorite.
Regardless,
Nu metal bands and artists that excelled in their respective field. The cream that rose to the top.
Of the crap.
can I please finish?
Number 2, I actually wanted to go the extra mile on this list and try to relegate the bands to only those that are definitively nu metal. Some stuff is way more debatable than others as to whether it canonically fits into the genre.
So you're not going to cheat and try to put a bunch of 90s industrial or post-grunge on here?
Exactly.
Okay, I can respect that.
See, told ya. I think I can totally sway your line of thinking here.
Look, what time period are you from again?
2007. I'm actually about to graduate college.
Oh god, you really are naive.
You're naive.
We are literally the same person.
Ah, crap, I did it again.
Look, I know you mean well, but you don't know what the future holds, man. You have no idea how bad things got. I mean, you go ahead and do what you can to justify these bands, and I'll tell you exactly what they did to fuck things up along the way.
Come on, man, you've said it yourself. Good music is timeless. And I think I can show you just how timeless some of these bands actually turned out to be. Tell you what, how about we start with some honorable mentions, just to give you an idea of where we're headed.
Oh, come on! Days of the New is not nu metal. They're acoustic post-grunge.
Well, dude, they both have new in their type.
Ow! Oh, shit! Why did I feel that?
We are literally the same person?
Oh wow, that does complicate things.
No kidding.
Well, that's why they're only getting an honorable mention, dude. Days of the New really wasn't a nu metal band, but a lot of that simply had to do with the fact that there was no nu metal genre when they came out. With their achingly dark and deeply personal lyrics, aggressive, forceful instrumentation, and gloomy, moody atmosphere, you could really make the argument that they were one of the trailblazers of the genre, one of the original instigators of what would come.
And that argument would be fucking wrong. But I kinda see where you're coming from here.
I mean, if nothing else, Days of the New's first album is absolutely gorgeous, regardless of what genre it may or may not belong to, but listening back on some of their catalog, yeah, I guess I can see some more traditional nu metal patterns in there. If nothing else, it's just crazy that an album like this can be this good. I mean, walk up to anybody today and say, hey, this acoustic nu metal album is fan-fucking-tastic, and they'll likely shoot you in the nuts for fear you may procreate and spread more stupid, but yeah, if nothing else, the very first album was very legit, and even their later stuff wasn't bad. I mean, Travis Meeks was a hell of a songwriter.
Was? Wait, what do you mean was?
Oh,
My name is Travis. For about 3 years, I've been on a head trip with speed. Get out of my face! Get out of my face!
yeah.
Kids, don't do drugs.
Since I mentioned Days of the New, I may as well bring these guys up too.
What? Why?
You're kidding me, right? Breakdown, Morning, Astounded, Hate Me, Frequency? Basically that entire first album?
When Travis kicked out his entire band back in 1998,
That was actually a really dick move. But regardless.
We got an amazing debut album from TANTRIC. The electric instrumentation served them very well, and it showed us that Travis Meeks wasn't the only one in that band that had talent to spare. And dude, the vocal harmonies on that album. Todd Whitener's twangy tenor just blends together perfectly with Hugo Ferrera's huge, deep bass vocal style.
Well, I mean, it helped that Ferrera's voice was thicker than an Indiana governor.
I think you're being a bit too generous. I mean, the Tantric guys really only had one good album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Days of the New Crew split after the second album, and it's pretty much just been the Hugo Ferrera show ever since.
Why can't those guys hang on to a lead singer?
I don't know, dude. It is what it is.
Well, you have to at least admit, that first album is an absolute home run, right?
Well, yes, I will admit, it is definitely one of the best hidden gems that's floating around in that genre. But that is pretty much the only good thing we got out of them. I don't think the band deserves an honorable mention just for one good album.
The Germs only had one album. Does that make their contributions any less significant?
That's completely different, and you know it. P.O.D, man, we didn't get a chance for a second album. Again, kids.
Hey, you want to talk about hidden gems? Here's a hidden gem for you. This was another band I discovered during my Much Music days. I found them around the same time I was digging on bands like The Tragically Hip and Sloan and Alexis on Fire.
Whoa, dude, it's pronounced Alexis on Fire.
It is?
Yes, trust me, you do not want to fuck that up.
Well, this was another Canadian group that definitely deserved more attention than they ultimately got.
Unlike other Canadian artists, I'm sure I could mention. Though I think it's safe to say they've long since stopped recording stuff these days, right?
Oh god, sorry about that. Yeah, Finger 11. I think I agree with you. These guys definitely deserved more credit. Even though they started out their career as the Rainbow Butt Monkeys.
You actually think that's funny?
It's a monkey with a rainbow for a butt.
You really are the less mature version of me.
Finger 11 would eventually grow up to produce some very good material. From the alt-rockier vibe of Tip to the criminally underrated nu metal classic Grayest of Blue Skies. I'm not even joking about that, people. It's probably the best nu metal album you've never heard. These guys were able to knock a few out of the park.
The biggest problem with these guys, though, was that they could never find a sound and just stick to it, you know? I mean, every album they released was a huge departure from the last.
I don't know about that. I mean, their self-titled album wasn't much of a departure. I mean, how much crazier could things get?
Oh god, you haven't heard it yet.
Heard what?
Oh yeah, that is totally the face I made when I first heard that song. Oh god. Finger 11, what the fuck?
What the? Why in Brandon Boyd's glorious abs are you putting Incubus here?
What, you don't like Incubus?
Oh no, I love Incubus. I love them to death. So much so that part of their logo is literally part of my logo. If I were making this list, they'd probably be in the top 3. Why the hell are they only an honorable mention to you?
Honestly? Because I don't think they count as a nu metal band.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
I mean, they get lumped in with nu metal a lot, but I don't know, nothing about their sound really fits into the nu metal style. And like I said at the beginning, I don't want to pick too many easy cop-out choices. I want this list to be as genuinely nu metal as possible. And these guys, I don't think they've ever made a wholeheartedly nu metal album in their entire career. Think about it, early albums, those are funk metal. Make Yourself, that was alt rock. Morning View. That was modern rock. Crow Left of the Murder. That was
just kind of weird, actually.
I agree. That one did get pretty weird. But no, totally see where you're coming from. I agree. I mean, people lump them into nu metal categories all the time, and they really don't belong. They weren't a nu metal band.
See, now you get where I'm coming from here. I think I can totally sway your line of thinking on this.
Look, you haven't won me over yet, Strawberry Head. Let's see what's in your actual list before we start making impressions here.
Oh, don't be like that, dude. I'll really be able to impress you with some of these. Let's go ahead and get started.
Number 10.
Oh God! If they're your number 10, who's your number 1? Reliant K?
Look, I'm willing to admit that some of their stuff didn't necessarily age well.
What, you mean like this? In this video, and basically their entire pre-Atlantic catalog? Yeah, I'd say not aging well is the best way you can describe it.
Yeah, especially Snuff the Punk. I mean, for God's sake, look at this cover image! Look at it! My God, Google image searching this image just makes it even more depressing. Not to mention, P.O.D's super early stuff gets really uncomfortable in places. Look, whatever your opinions might be regarding that particular subject, I sure as hell hope you didn't get them from a nu metal album.
Yeah, just do yourself a favor and don't do anything pre-Fundamental Elements of Southtown.
No shit.
But hey, since we're talking about that album, let's talk about how freaking awesome it is. The amazing mix of LA hardcore, reggae, and thrash was a really fresh new spin at the time. I mean, say what you want to about their music,
Especially that early shit.
but these guys were inspired by some of the best. The tinges from bands like Bad Brains, Suicidal Tendencies, and Faith No More
Ironically enough.
are very easy to spot, and they had the musical chops to help back it up. See, listen to the sheer power behind that.
Yeah, I gotta admit, Sonny's voice just absolutely shreds on this record.
And that's not even mentioning how groundbreaking these guys were.
Oh, fuck off.
No, it's true.
Really, think about it. I mean, the Christian rock scene, while it did exist prior to P.O.D, it was always viewed as this strange, warty little niche. It was pretty much just something your crazy, super religious cousins listened to. It wasn't something that the mainstream really embraced. But when P.O.D broke through, they did something that even their better-aged peers like Five Iron Frenzy, Jars of Clay, or Switchfoot couldn't do.
And what exactly was that?
Get on TRL. Dude, didn't you feel that?
Yep. Don't care. You had that one coming.
Well, what I meant by that is they were able to bring Christian rock into the mainstream. They were responsible for breaking down the walls and making Christian music more acceptable in popular culture.
And you think that's a good thing?
How about I say yes, sir, yes, sir.
Well, okay, it has had its drawbacks, admittedly, but think of the actually really good bands that probably wouldn't be around today if P.O.D hadn't broken down that initial gate. Bands like Switchfoot, Underoath, and Skillet probably wouldn't have been able to cross over, not without P.O.D, breaking the initial stigma.
I guess you do make some valid points. I mean, in their own weird little way, P.O.D. helped progress and helped Christian rock mature into something more than just Sunday school bulletins with distorted guitars in the background. And guys, believe me, Christian rock really, really needed maturation.
When the toast is burned and all the milk has turned and Captain Crunch is waving farewell.
A lot of maturation! Holy shit! Fuck you, newsboys!
Number 9. Hey, I thought you said no easy choices.
No, I said that the bands I picked were going to be as definitive of the genre as possible. And, I mean, it's hard to get much more nu metal than these guys. What I like so much about Disturbed is just how freaking committed they are to being as over-the-top and freaky as possible. They were one of the few bands that actually lived up to their namesake. I mean, these guys were genuinely disturbing.
I mean, for the time at least.
I certainly can't say that the image has held up, but I can admit that there's some decent musicianship going on in this band. Dan Donegan was actually a pretty good riff crafter, and once they actually let him play a solo, he turned out to be a decent enough shredder.
And Dave Draymond's vocals are absolutely killer.
What? Don't look at me like that.
Sure, it might be easy to make fun of that weird staccato warbly thing that Dave was doing in Down with the Sickness, but at the time it was really impressive. We hadn't really heard much like that before, certainly not in mainstream rock, so when that thing blares across your speakers for the first time, it immediately gets your attention. Seriously, Draymond's range and ability to both shriek and sing at the same time was pretty crazy. Both The Sickness and Believe are just coated with some of the craziest vocal shenanigans this side of an At the Drive-In record.
Oh my god, please tell me they've gotten back together. Aww.
I mean, you're certainly right, it is easy to make fun of now, because it literally sounds like it's coming out of a monkey cage. Probably because that sound originated from a monkey cage, but okay, Damon was an outstanding vocalist in his early years, and unlike a lot of other nu metal acts, these guys could genuinely play and perform pretty effectively. I mean, it's very difficult to take serious these days. But I have to give credit where it's due.
I have a feeling I'll be making you say that a lot throughout this video.
Oh, shut up. Disturbed were one of the few bands that were genuinely pretty good as a nu metal act. It's just kind of a shame they couldn't carry that same kind of intensity when they transitioned into a more traditional metal style. You know, I'll give this a pass, if only because Disturbed gave us God's gift to bad karaoke nights.
Can you do it?
No, nobody can do it. Dave Draymond can barely do it.
I can do it.
Oh, bullshit.
No, I can totally do it.
We are literally the same person. If I can't do it, you sure as hell can't do it.
Observe. Did you learn?
You've gotta be kidding me.
I promise you I'm not. Seriously, like Disturbed, these guys actually knew how to play their instruments. Ryan Martini was seriously one of the best bass players the genre ever saw. His bright, complicated line work was what basically held this band together. And Matthew Madonna's drumming was just as killer. The band had one of the best rhythm sections in that era of rock.
You're talking about the obscure Star Trek character and the devil from the Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah.
A lot of people like to credit Chad Gray's vocals and lyrics for their success, too. And to be fair, the guy does have a hell of a shout. When it comes to dark, brutal lyrics.
Yeah, I'd say the guy could totally hold his own.
No kidding. God damn, I forgot how crazy that song was. Man, no wonder our parents were worried about us listening to this shit.
But let's be real, people. Once the end of all things and Lost and Found came around and Gray started clean singing more often,
In this hole, that is me. The dead are rolling over.
The real strengths of this group lied in their instrumentation. They weren't writing the basic 4-chord song with a lot of their work.
Well, okay, with a lot of their earlier work at least.
And they weren't doing the same tired old things that a lot of other bands of the time were doing. Their music was way more complex than it had to be. Their performances were way more intense than they had to be. Even their look was way more bold and crazy than it had to be.
Yeah, I'd say that's one way of putting it.
see, that's the thing. The weird look and all the gimmicks, that's what really hurt these guys. Not only in their original outlandishness, but in their absolute failure to even commit to it.
Hey, we like makeup. No, we don't. Now we like prosthetics. No, we take that back. Now we kind of do, but just a little, whatever.
You're not seriously gonna discredit them because of the makeup, are you?
Well, kinda, yeah. I mean, they were great musicians, but their gimmick was so stupid that it just distracted from all that. And people didn't pay attention as a result.
I mean, I'm not saying that's fair, but that is kind of what happened to these guys. If they just ditched the gimmicks and focused on bringing forth their admittedly strong musical chops, I feel like they would have been much more successful. Because, hell, I think I agree with you here. These guys were a lot better than people tend to give them credit for. I mean, who knows? They might even still be around today if they just focused on the music.
Oh, they broke up?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Are they up to anything these days?
Well, Chad and Greg actually went on to do this country, metal, Southern Fried thing with Pantera's drummer.
Okay, that's funny. No, seriously, dude, what are they up to?
I push my fingers into my eye.
Oh boy, am I gonna get some weird looks for this pic.
Hey, look on the bright side. At least you don't have to deal with the comments later.
Touché. Well, these guys definitely left their mark on the genre, and they were able to give us some very interesting music. These guys, as polarizing as they were just outstanding at creating a thick, brutal soundscape with a grimy, gritty tone to it.
You know, I hate to say it, but I think you're right about this one, too.
I'm good at this.
Oh, shut up.
Okay.
I mean, they weren't a band without their shortcomings. Trust me, I'll get to that in a sec. But they always hit where it counts: intensity. This band was anger personified. They played their instruments angry. They wrote their songs angry. And Corey Taylor. Need I say anything more? Dude has an amazing shriek. I think it's easily their best quality. So much so, I even consider Stone Sour to be somewhat of a guilty pleasure. I just love this dude's voice. Though, my God, when it came to lyrics...
It's me! Devil in me! I don't care if there's a lyrical justification for it! Devil in I is fucking stupid!
I guess I just have to give it to these guys. They're still kicking around, and they even released an album last year that I thought was pretty damn good.
Are you plugging one of your videos inside of this video?
Shut up, I need the ad revenue. Look, when Slipknot debuted, they were the one band that everyone said would never last, but 20 years later, here we are.
I still think that's kind of a cop-out choice, dude. I mean, Slipknot is one of the top-selling bands in the world, even today. I mean, that's not really a curveball, dude.
Oh, so you want a curveball? Okay. I've got a curveball for you.
Oh, wow. I I'd forgotten all about these guys. Told you I was good at this. Oh, get on with it! Yeah, well, Taproot was a band that got one thing right from the very beginning. They gave Fred Durst a giant middle finger and went out to do things on their own.
Best decision ever!
While their debut was okay, these guys really hit their stride with Welcome. Their unique blend of cleanness and huge distorted breakdowns made for a very jarring, schizophrenic kind of sound. It was a sound that started off ugly but got increasingly beautiful as the songs would progress.
And Stephen Richards' voice was phenomenal. I don't know if phenomenal is really the word I'd use here.
Reoccurring drowning effect entrenching my brain night.
I mean, listen to that cadence. That is some premium wine we're dealing with there. Seriously, I don't know whether to pair this wine with chicken or steak, but all I know, it's potent.
I don't even like wine, but guess what? You're gonna like it. I need some cheese.
Okay, maybe his vocal style is an acquired taste, but his harmonies were always excellent, and his lyrics certainly weren't whitey.
Well, by new metal standards at least.
While guys like Stained and Papa Roach and many, many others were doing actual whining in their lyrics, the stuff on Welcome is actually quite uplifting, somewhat intelligent, and genuinely thoughtful.
Speaking as someone that suffers from anxiety, their music actually did help me a lot growing up.
You know, I can see where you're coming from there. I mean, truth be told, even to this day, I sometimes still hum poem to myself if I'm either having an attack or I'm close to an attack. It's, you know, I can relate. I can see where you're coming from, at least.
You know, I think you're right. I mean, Welcome was certainly way, way better than it had any right to be. And their follow-up Blue Sky Research was also extremely good, woefully undersold, and very, very underrated, but still very good stuff. Even though the stuff that comes after Blue Sky is, let's just say, mediocre, those two albums at least more than make up for that. They're mandatory listening if you're going to dip your toes into this genre.
And frankly, I don't give a damn who judges me for it. I'm gonna love Poem until the day I die. This song is a poem to myself. It helps me to live in case of fire. Oh, dude, we have got to learn how to scream.
Right? See, I knew I'd get you with this one. You're not wrong.
The thing is, though, I'm not sure I can even include these guys as a new metal band. I mean, the sound is definitely there, especially in the earlier records, but man, these guys were just so much more. Part progressive, part post-metal, part shoegaze, part a lot of things. These guys are an absolute head trip to listen to. They just refuse to do anything according to the standards. Their sound is entirely unique and completely theirs.
I mean, a lot of new metal bands do tend to sound a lot alike, but when you're listening to Deftones, you know you're listening to Deftones.
Totally, 100%, dude.
What I always liked about Deftones is that they were always just kinda doing their own thing. They were doing their own thing before nu metal became a thing, and then when it did become a thing, they got swept up as a part of the thing, but they were still doing their own thing. The new thing just kinda sounded like their thing at the time. But then the new thing wasn't the thing anymore, and these guys just kept doing their own thing, and things were always good. Things are still good. Diamond Eyes was an amazing thing, and Koi no Yokon was another outstanding thing. They're going to be releasing a new thing this year, and let's hope that's a good thing.
Are you done?
No. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, Deftones are one of those bands that never really let us down. I mean, as the genre rose and fell, these guys stayed consistent. And all of this while mixing up their sound and trying new things, always experimenting, always expanding, and always remaining very, very listenable. Almost all of their material is worth checking out.
Except for Back to School.
Oh, come on.
You come on. Even the band admits that song is dumb. I seriously can't believe they re-released White Pony for... that!
Can we please move on?
Just when you think you know me right, I switch it up.
What?
Number ball.
Okay, guys. Now we're getting into the big guns. Hurt was amazing. Probably the most desperately underappreciated band of this genre. Volumes 1 and 2 aren't just great albums on the standard of nu metal, they're great albums, period. The instrumentation was just brilliant, incorporating tons of pianos, synths, strings, and orchestral arrangements. This was a band that knew how to make gigantic, sweeping, explosive music that at the same time was also heart-wrenching, earnest, and profoundly bleak.
No nu metal band out there was better at building scale and atmosphere. I mean, songs like Talking to God, Alone with the Sea, and Rapture can just literally bring you to tears. What, you don't have a snarky comeback for that or anything? Dude?
Well, yeah. Hurt was a band that was so much more than just white boys with guitars and problems. Though, yeah, they were certainly that. This is a terrific example of what the genre can sound like in the hands of actual musicians. J. Lauren Wintz is a very talented multi-instrumentalist with a killer howling voice and a knowledgeable way around a hook.
And he knows how to play a banjo without sounding like a fucking twat.
You're goddamn right I said it.
I have no idea what that is, but I already hate it.
Hurt, unfortunately, got their start around the time the genre was starting to die out, and like other bands in similar scenarios, they were able to really capture the best that particular genre had to offer, but I mean, the old girl was dying, what the hell could they do? But both volumes 1 and 2 are some of the best music you may not have heard, and hell, those releases have a lot of things you probably wouldn't expect to see on a nu metal record. Just listen to songs like Alone with the Sea and Danse Russe and you'll see what I mean. They were one of the few bands that went for the full, gripping sadness angle with their lyrics and actually pulled it off. Hurt. Probably the most aptly named band in existence.
But, like, in a good way. I mean, wouldn't you agree, dude? Dude?
Move on to the next band, for fuck's sake, dude.
Number 3.
Okay, this is a really good pick.
Swish.
Oh, stop being an ass and get on with it.
You're an ass.
We are
literally
literally
the
the
same
same
person.
person.
Yeah, I should have caught that one.
Well, this supergroup, which throughout its 10 years had members from bands such as Smashing Pumpkins, 30 Seconds to Mars, Queens of the Stone Age, Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Primus, and lest we forget frickin' Tool, originally started as the brainchild of guitarist Billy Howerdel. And this band is something that's really rare to see in any genre of music. A supergroup that is genuinely super.
You know, you make an excellent point there. God knows we've had to suffer through our fair share of supergroups.
To this day, I still can't believe the damn Yankees actually happened.
I know, right? Ted Nugent is what you get when you cross Yosemite Sam with Cornholio.
You know what's also kind of cool about this group? They're one of those bands that, let's just say, has an open door policy on membership. But with every incarnation, they never seem to lose any of their bravado.
A lot of that simply has to do with the two men at the helm. Howardell is great at writing songs that have epic scales and massive build-ups. A typical APC song might start off slow or soft, but by the end, it's absolutely flying off the hinges. And we also get to see some of the best vocal chops that Maynard is capable of pulling off.
I've literally seen dudes pass out trying to karaoke the last word of that song. Yeah, I mean, we all knew Maynard was good, but perhaps we didn't realize he was this good until A Perfect Circle came around. I mean, they still weren't perfect by any means. Their covers album, Emotive, is spotty at best.
Oh, come on.
You come on! Did the world really need a dark and gritty version of Imagine?
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Actually, in this case, I think I agree with you, dude.
Those babies are gonna haunt my freaking nightmares till the day I die, dude.
And at times, their lyrics could be, well...
Oh, I see. When Ninja Sex Party writes a song about butt sex, it's okay. But when Maynard does it...
Again, if you're from the past, how do you even know about...
Pointing out the plot holes, we're never gonna get anywhere.
Touche.
But, okay, the less than stellar stuff is few and far between. Seriously, if you're even gonna mildly consider listening to anything in the nu metal or alt metal genre, then this needs to be one of the first artists you look up. They've since reformed, and they've even done a tiny bit of touring here and there, so who knows, we may get to see even more brilliance out of this crew. I mean, here's hoping.
I mean, if nothing else, it's always nice to have something to listen to until the next Tool album comes out.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're from 2007, aren't you?
Yep.
How you liking the new Tool album?
Oh, dude. So good. So unbelievably. Oh. I just can't wait until the next one comes out. Oh my god, it still isn't out yet, is it? It still isn't out yet?!
It still hasn't come out yet!
What in the actual...
I know that it's easy to mock the nu metal genre. There were a lot of bands in that scene that did not deserve half the attention they got. But System of a Down, they got tons of attention, and if anything, they deserved more.
He's 100% right.
See, did I not tell you I would make a believer out of you? Seriously. Oh. You know, I don't even care, because I know you felt that one too, didn't you?
Please shut up.
Multiverse theory, ain't it a bitch?
But yeah, he's totally right. System of a Down had it all. Politically savvy and intelligent lyrics.
Well, some of the time.
Unique and insanely well-constructed guitar riffs, heart-stopping drum and percussion work, and the vocal harmonies between Serge and Darren.
Trust in my self-righteous suicide.
I cry when angels disappear.
love to die in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. Good stuff, right?
I mean, that's not to say they were perfect. Their lyrics could be quirky at times. I mean, there's being obtuse, and then there's being just silly. But hell, that's what added to their charm. They were a band that could pull off a comical, bullshitty joke song and a serious damnation of our materialistic, self-centric modern culture on the same album and still make it work. Do you have any idea how hard that is to pull off?
It would be like if Weird Al, like 3 or 4 polka covers in, just busted out some Bruce Cockburn and just made you want to start the revolution or something, man. It was just fantastic.
Do we have our scripts mixed up? Aren't I supposed to be the one telling you how awesome these bands are?
Hey man, you don't have to convince me of anything. System of a Down was an exemplary band, and I will stick up for them any day of the week. The hell, they've actually been touring a lot lately, and there's been rumors of a new album, and you better believe I'm excited for it. Oh my god, new System of a Down.
Actually, something feels a little off about this. I mean, if I were making this list...
Technically, you are making this.
Shut up. I would probably put System of a Down as my #1 band. Who did it better than System of a Down?
You want to know who did it better than System? There was only one band who did it better than System. And that band is... Rage Against the
Get up. Go on, get up. I know you're not dead, because I'm still here. Get up. You're a Saiyan. I know for a fact it takes more than that to kill you. Get up.
That doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Asshole.
Look, with their outstanding...
Wait a minute, how in the hell did you not feel...
If you keep pointing out the plot holes, we'll never get anywhere.
Touché.
With their outstanding mix of metal, hip-hop, and funk, Rage Against the Machine were an absolutely titanic force that...
No, dude, stop it! Everybody knows Rage Against the Machine is an awesome band. Everybody! They were one of the best things to come out of the 90s. We don't need to elaborate on that.
I thought that was kind of the whole point of this shit.
I want to know how in the sugar-coated candy fucking hell you can think that Rage Against the Machine is a nu metal band!
Dude, the pieces are all there.
The loud, heavy instrumentation, the emphasis on rap and hip-hop, the angry, aggressive attitude... Dude, it counts.
Bullshit! Nu metal lyrics focused on personal pain and struggle. Rage wrote about external societal issues, not internal, emotional, quibbling bullshit.
System of a Down's lyrics were really political. They still count, right?
Rage was entirely unique. No one else sounded like they sounded, especially none of the nu metal bands.
You just said the same thing about Deftones and Hurt. Do they still count?
It's fucking stupid to say that Rage was a nu metal band!
Is it really?
Just think of all the bands, both nu metal and non, that would not exist without these guys opening the door. They showed us that funk, hip-hop, and reggae could be blended with metal, rock, and hardcore and produce truly amazing music. I mean, there were bands that toyed with those ideas in the past, but Rage was really the first band to wholeheartedly commit to the idea, and they ran with the ball and scored the game-winning touchdown with it.
Face it, dude. No Rage, no nu metal. In fact, you could arguably say they were the very first nu metal band.
Look, they may have introduced us to some of the concepts, but that doesn't make them part of the genre. I mean, every hardcore band in the world would list the Ramones as an influence. That doesn't make them a hardcore band.
Interesting point. But the Ramones never sounded like a hardcore band. Rage Against the Machine sounds new metal.
No, they didn't.
Dude, it totally does.
They didn't!
It does!
No!
Look, we can back and forth about this all night, but...
Doesn't the massive influence they had on the genre sort of give them the ultimate credence here? I mean, they were so indicative of this sound that it wouldn't exist without them, but at the same time, they're so unique, stellar, and revolutionary that they get to exist as something wholeheartedly different. Aren't they a band good enough to warrant a seat in both chairs? Does it really matter at all what genre they are? Doesn't a band this amazing transcend genre altogether? Doesn't it speak to their talent that they could actually pull something like that off? I mean, come on, can't we at least agree that Rage is a band that, even though they may not desire the title of best in the genre, they probably still deserve it?
No!
We'll just have to agree to disagree then.
Dude, there is no way I could have been this stupid growing up. There just isn't. Like, I'm sorry, but you are a fucking dumbass. There's seriously something very wrong with you.
We are literally the same.
No, we are not the same! I grew up! I matured! I moved past all this bullshit!
Look, you've shown us some decent nu metal bands here today. Hell, some were actually really good and probably do deserve more credit. But look at the damage this genre did as a whole. It blurred everything by mixing all of these different genres together and doing it so half-assedly and lackluster. It just resulted in this deluge of bland, boring, unbelievably insubstantial bands, mediocre at everything, excelling in nothing. There may have been a few bands that went against that trend and got the recipe right, but for every one nu metal or alt metal or whatever you want to call it band that did get it right, 15 got it wrong. And these assholes completely clogged the market. The image of the angry, pissy, spoiled white boy became synonymous with the rock and metal image itself. That's what nu metal did. Nu metal made us look bad.
Nu metal spoiled us rotten. And as a result, people fled.
People left rock and metal in droves. People got sick of listening to someone bitch about their bullshit problems when they already had plenty of problems to deal with in their own lives. They got sick of the samey, ceaselessly repeating melodies and hooks. They got sick of the mealy-mouthed, soulless, personality-less drones creating generic product after generic product after generic, pandering, useless, empty product.
Nu metal hurt us in ways that we're still trying to recover from, even today. Rocker and metalhead alike. And the fact that you would put one of the best bands in the freaking world on this list just blows my freaking mind. What is your fucking malfunction?
You know, you're right. You're 100% right. For all the things that nu metal got right, it got just as many, if not more, wrong. Do you know who else did the exact same thing?
Who?
Hardcore punk.
Don't look at me like that. It all started out gloriously, sure. It was rich, new, and inventive. But eventually, comfortability came along and settled in and started making things samey and mediocre. And as a result, people fled. That doesn't change the fact that the stuff that was good was really, really amazing. And it doesn't change the fact that the good stuff went on to inspire new generations to present the genre in more interesting and unique ways. And the bands that poisoned the well, they disappeared. And the good stuff lived on. Same thing happened to grunge. Yeah, it had its Soundgardens, its Nirvanas, and its Alice in Chains, but people tend to forget that it had plenty of sore spots too. But the stuff that was good lasted through the test of time. Same goes for ska, alt-rock, post-grunge, every genre. That's how music evolves. It's how we grow, it's how we mature, and it's how we move past the things we need to move past.
And you're right, because moving away from that is important. I mean, no one wants to get locked in the past. Even I don't necessarily want to look like this forever.
Thank Christ!
But at the same time, you don't want to completely write it off either.
To deny the stuff that actually did stand out just because of where it stood out from is missing the forest for the trees. Plus, we need to have those mistakes. We need to make those mistakes. We need to analyze them and learn from them so we can grow from them, so evolution can occur.
Those who cannot remember the past are doomed to repeat its mistakes. There will be bands that carry out nu metal's legacy, even if the music they make isn't essentially nu metal. Hell, the kids that were influenced by all this music are probably out there making music right now. I bet that thought scares a lot of people. I bet it even scares you. But just know that it's not all bad, because it wasn't all bad, even back then. And even if I'm wrong, and it's just complete garbage, at least we'll be moving on to pastures new, like we always do. Speaking of which, it's about time I made my leave. One more thing. You may look back on me as somewhat of an embarrassment. And I won't say I haven't done anything to deserve that, but dude, that's life. We all make mistakes. We grow up, we move on. You may not like or appreciate the choices that I made back then and the choices that I will make in the future. But I'm still a part of you. Hell, I'm what shaped you. And while you shouldn't dwell on the mistakes that I made, you shouldn't completely forget about me either. Because remember, without me, there is no you. Take care of yourself, then. I know you will. You know, he's got a point.
Yeah, nu metal was pretty embarrassing for the most part. But, hell, a lot of genres are that way. I mean, eventually every genre is gonna outlive its usefulness. That doesn't mean there isn't good that can be extracted from them. And to write it off entirely is to miss out on bands that actually could reach out to you somehow. Even if you do look around and find nothing you like, well, what have you really lost? I mean, that applies to genres today. Some people like where things are heading, some don't, but hell, if you don't, at least take comfort in the fact that it's not gonna last that way for long. Things are gonna keep growing, keep changing, keep evolving. I mean, the rock and roll our grandparents listened to doesn't sound much of anything like the rock we listen to today. And that trend is going to continue as we grow older.
To every season, turn, sunrise, sunset. This too shall pass away. Rock and roll will never die. That doesn't mean it isn't going to change.
And as rock changes, we change too. Maybe we'll like what it does, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll look back on things we used to like with a twinge of regret. Or maybe some things will surprise us and age along with us. But the only way we're gonna figure that out is to, I don't know, see what the test of time delivers and to keep as open of a mind as possible.
I still can't say I agree with them about the Rage Against the Machine thing. I don't know, I'll let you guys argue that one out in the comments. But, again, it's not really his call to make. And it isn't my call to make either. It isn't any individual person's call to make. Because, well, I'm Crash Thompson. And remember, the only opinion that really matters is your own. Cheers. That'll be him. Hey, dude, no worries. I got it right. Let me guess. You're from the...
Why do you wear that stupid hat? Idiots.
Today's been a weird day. Oh, shit. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
I'm being too trying.
No, it's okay. No, I understand. I understand completely.
I gotta get it.